Good morning, darlings. It's Abigail Adams with Witch and ERA Revolution. This Witch stands for Women Inspiring Conscious Thoughts from Heaven. I am your hostess with the mostest, Abigail Anthony, enjoying my mimosa. Did you know that today, in 2021, women in the United States do not have legal equality under the US Constitution? This is true. The US has one of the only modern constitution that does not include gender equality. No shit. Today, 90% of US citizens support equality for women, and simultaneously, we are not aware that women do not have equivalent rights to men. The truth is that ensuring the lack of public awareness is a divide and conquer strategy that keeps women down and citizens divided. We know that the shameful truth is that most of our founding fathers and architects of our Constitution were abusive slave owners and colonizers. They purposely ensured the subjugation of those who were not white, male, and wealthy. We know our nation's family needs some healing. We need to talk about this, y'all. In 1776, our founding mother, Abigail Adams, asked her husband and former vice president and president to remember the ladies, reminding him that all men can be tyrants if empowered to behave this way. John basically just laughed it off and denied her request. And we know that our founding fathers remembered us by ensuring that women and our bodies continue to be the property of our husbands or fathers, which has been and continues to be the root of tremendous suffering in the US and globally. From 1776 to 1920, women in the US were basically domestic slaves with little or no legal rights. We know that our beloved Susan B. Anthony changed this, fighting for humanity as her true purpose. The truth is that our Constitution or foundation that we call our so-called democracy ensures that most of us feel like we are not good enough, that we are divided against each other, and they set a foundation for us to see each other as separate. The reality is that we are all one family, humanity. Too much mimosa. Humanity. With humor. You may be wondering, what is it required for women today to begin to claim the rightful legal rights under the US Constitution? Well, we need to pass something called the Equal Rights Amendment, and we must raise awareness about this important issue. The Equal Rights Amendment was written by Alice Paul in 1923. It basically states that equality of rights shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex, or we can also say gender. Bottom line, y'all, is when we uplift women, we uplift humanity. This is an opportunity for us all to politically engage and work together on behalf of women, girls, and those that are non-binary worldwide, and men. Nobody benefits more than uplifting women than men. Hello. Okay, we are going to choose to rebuild a society based on love, abundance, cooperation, compassion, and wisdom. Are you with us? Now is the time. Complacency is agreement. In the time of the great shift, it's time, we all have to wake up. If Western women and future generations are to save the world, we need to begin by feeling safe. We need legal protections as equal citizens now. This is a very low bar. And sometimes I just want to make myself into a unicorn so I can stab the stupid people. But we have to be more compassionate than that. Although we have every right to be angry, y'all. Women have every right to be angry. We're just not effective that way. The passage of ERA is a declaration that we, as a country, value women and are taking actions to protect them. We must do this together. As Abigail Adams said in 1776, it's time to remember the ladies or we shall form a rebellion. We are done waiting. We're done. We've had many rebellions. And the truth is that our Constitution ensures that we don't feel good enough. So what do? Okay, so let's rewind back to Susan B. Anthony, badass goddess of the women's movement. She was born in 1820. So let's just think about this, 1776 to 1820, well, really 1920. Women were basically slaves, okay? So think about that, feel into that, okay? And it's hard, I know, it's hard. That's why I'm drinking. And plus there's a lot of references to her story in this shtick I'm doing here, okay? So she's born into a family that valued education and in her community, treated women and men equally. She had great faith in equality for all. And she literally gave her life, her heart, and her soul for the cause, her whole life. If she got married, she could either be a drudge, if she was a poor woman, which basically means slave, or a doll as a wealthy woman, which is basically eye candy. So neither of those things worked for Susan B, because she's like a smart, amazing woman, right? Her purpose was actually to do what she did for us, for humanity, for women in the US. Okay, so imagine the amount of love. Okay, when we look at this story, we think about what did they do in the world. Okay, so Susan B. Anthony was the sacred masculine. Okay, so she actually created a safe space for women to be seen and heard. This was absolutely unheard of. It. Women were afraid to leave their houses. They were afraid to use their voices, speak their truth. And this is happening now. A lot of women are stuck in the trauma. We have to move beyond that, love ourselves and appreciate ourselves and have faith that we can do something like Susan B. Anthony, whatever your thing is, okay? So Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony met in 1848 at the first of many national women's rights conventions, and they decided to team up. So basically, Elizabeth is an intelligent and bored mother and wife with an amazing, supportive husband. So she was a very powerful writer, and so she forged the lightning bolts, if you will, and Susan B. delivered them. These mothers of our country are responsible for most of the rights women have today. The same level of commitment is required of us now as we move into a new world after the Great Shift. Same energy, okay? So in 1872, Susan B. created the national sensation when she voted in the presidential election as a citizen. She just went down there and registered to vote and voted. Didn't like it. Her hope was to force a Supreme Court case for women to have the right to vote, just like we're doing with ERA now. Okay, we have to force a vote by the Senate. Okay, we need 10 votes from Republican senators to remove the deadline. Okay, she had to stand trial, and she was not allowed to speak on her behalf because women were basically not appreciated. Okay, she was fined for a crime. She got a lot of publicity for this, and voting rights became the issue that most women got behind. It was a unifying goal, and we need a unifying goal now. I suggest that's ERA, which is the low-hanging fruit for equality. This would immediately raise the status of over 51% of our citizens. This is important, y'all. I mean, Facebook and Instagram are cool, though. You know, I mean, I love it. But what are we prepared to do for this? Do we care? Do we care? Do we care about the future of humanity? Western women are thought to save the world. Maybe now is not the time. Maybe we have to wait for the next generation. But it's not okay to continue to say women and children are going to save the world. We are the transition team, okay? What are we prepared to do for this? Perhaps women should take a day off work. This is how women in Iceland gained equality. And they now have more women than men in parliament, which is appropriate. We're going to just balance things out, y'all. It's creating harmony. That's a good idea. Peace and harmony. Yes. Yes. Because the other stuff isn't working for anyone. Even the wealthy, rich white men, it's not working for them. Okay. So women were given the right to vote. Thank you. As citizens, well, as in 1920, Okay, but still not equal citizens. That was Susan B. Anthony's goal. She went with the lower goals. It was a strategy, right? Okay, 16 years after she died, okay, Susan B. Anthony spoke in front of Congress on behalf of women for 45 years prior to her death. She had so much love for all of the women in the movement and she called them her nieces, her beloved nieces and supporters who did a lot to support the cause. And as she was dying, she saw all of them in front of her and sent them love. That's who she saw. That's who she did this for. She did this for us. And she saw a vision of future US women moving forward with the compassion and wisdom. And everyone, not just women. We need men. We need everyone. Okay? Compassion and wisdom required to shift the consciousness. So Susan B. went from a lower level of consciousness to a higher level of consciousness when they got the vote, okay? There's a lot of corollaries to what's going on now with us and what happened back in her day. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Elizabeth Stanton and prohibition. And then I'm going to move on to more esoteric tantric stuff because it's much more fun for me, believe me. But I'm still going to move on. So, but we need Susan B. Anthony's, Elizabeth K. Stanton's. We need them. Lucretia Mott's, Gloria Steinem, Michelle Obama. We need more. We need more awakened women now to shift the consciousness of our great nation and forge the way towards a true democracy and equality for all. The question we need to ask ourselves is, how can I show up to be my higher self during this great shift, to be who I was born to be and serve my true purpose? We are all one, tribe, humanity. We are needed. And we are here for a reason. Everyone's path is unique. And my hope is that equality for those who do not identify as men can be a unified short term, because I only need 10 votes, 10 more votes in the Senate. Okay, Republicans have not supported this, and frankly, neither are Democrats. Please check out my petition below. The goal is that we can get behind this and pave the way for future generations. This is the low-hanging fruit for humanity. We are the transition team. Now is the time for us all to show up with love, compassion, and wisdom. We got this. Loves.